afternoon, everyone. It's 5 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. Welcome. Thanks for all attending this afternoon. I want to just make a couple comments here. There are two changes from the agenda document sent out last week, and the printed copies that we have here tonight reflect these changes. The Buildings and Ground Committee has no report, so obviously that won't be something we covered. And in light of the public interest in the Jackson Township branch, we will not go into executive session, but rather hold our discussion in this room and not go into executive session, okay? Also, you will notice that there are 3 board members that are absent this afternoon. That is solely due to their scheduling conflicts. I want you to know, for all those that are attended, both our board members and the public here today, that they fully support the decisions being made this afternoon. Regarding public comments, we are not required to allow time for public comments, but generally in our monthly trustees meetings, they are invited at the beginning of our board meetings. We will, however, not be doing that this afternoon in light of the fact that we've had 3 dedicated community meetings and a special board meeting during which we heard feedback from the public. Let me begin by just expressing thanks to the public for their input, to everybody here this afternoon, and to all those who participated constructively in those public meetings, email or call. I want to thank you on behalf of the board and on behalf of the staff of the library. The vast majority of your feedback and input was indeed constructive and valuable. We heard you, but more importantly, we thank you and we appreciate your strong and continued passionate commitment to the library. I did mention this is a regular board meeting, so we do have some general business to conduct. The first matter on our agenda is the consent calendar. Members of the board, if you've had an opportunity to review the items contained within the consent calendar, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Next on our agenda is the Human Resources Committee report, and that relates to our group health and dental care area. Chris, please.
So on the last page of your board packet, you have a resolution related to the group health, dental, and vision carriers. The resolution breaks down the current and renewal costs for all 3 of those dental plans. And if you look at the chart at the bottom of that page, you can see the different breakdowns. This resolution simply is the board accepting these rates and entering a contract with Medical Mutual for the next year.
Are there any comments? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. All right. The next item on the agenda for our meeting is our Finance Committee and our Finance Committee recommendation. I want to share with those in attendance that I chair the Finance Committee. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a CPA. And I'm also the managing principal of the 8th largest, or a managing principal of the 8th largest firm in the U.S. So I just want to mention that so that you understand I do have a very strong financial background. I also want to say it's been very important all along that the Finance Committee had the time it needed to conduct its due diligence. And if those of you who are at our August 31 special board meeting, you'll recall that it was said at that time, in fact, I said it at that time, that the Finance Committee had not done their financial due diligence, comparing, expanding, and remaining in the storefront and the construction of a library and a building in Jackson Township. And there's been many misunderstandings to the contrary. But again, I want to emphasize that our executive director's recommendation has been all along, has been to remain in an expanded storefront, and that was only a recommendation for the board's consideration. No decision had been made at that time or since until we discuss it today. The board needed time to review the options, understand the financial analysis performed by the Finance Committee, and hear from the public. And as I mentioned earlier, and we do very much appreciate the public commentary, the productive and appropriate commentary. So the Finance Committee has met and over a period of time has evaluated the costs associated with both an expanded storefront location and constructing a new building. And this due diligence included refining the personnel assumptions, refining the operating cost assumptions, and looking at the economic value of the long-term ownership of a building. The committee's conclusions are that while operating the expanded storefront does produce an annual cash flow savings versus the cash flow required to construct a library building, the economic impact of those negative cash flows are partially mitigated by the long-term benefits of building ownership, and most importantly, we have sufficient revenue and financing options to continue with our plan to reconstruct the Jackson building. At this time, I recognize Tina Wilson, Executive Director, is asked to make a statement of position about the future of the library's Jackson branch.
Thank you, Steve. I've written down my comments because I want to make sure that I cover everything. I have been very much looking forward to this meeting tonight. Actually, I wish it had come much sooner. But patience was required. There have been some unfortunate misunderstandings on the issue, so I really appreciate the opportunity to just state my position at this meeting tonight. I have been really impressed with the success of the interim branch, as most of you know, especially given the space constraints. It's really small. All data indicates that the branch is well utilized and it's extremely cost effective. I don't think there's any argument on that hand. It's also become quite evident that even in the short term and in the long term, we need more space. Space for on-site collections, so more collection, more books for browsing, more space for meetings, and more space for programs. At the same time, I understood that there were growing concerns about the financial feasibility of building a new branch because we had significant cuts from the state, and about half of our funding comes from the state. So as such, I took the initiative to explore an alternate solution, the possibility of significantly expanding the current library and considering it as a possible permanent solution. I believe that the expansion would be able to address a lot of the things that we knew that the library needed. More space for tutoring, meetings, programs, more books. I thought it might be a viable option that would serve the community's need, and as such, I felt it was my responsibility to bring it to the board. I made the recommendation because I thought it needed to be considered. And I believe that it was important for the board to take a look at this alternative concept. That said, I also knew that my recommendation was only the first step. I fully expected that the board would weigh the options, financial options, and also community feedback. So, echoing what Steve said earlier, I'm really grateful to the residents of Jackson for attending our public meetings and expressing how much they appreciate and use and have passion for the library. After all, you are the reason that we have a library. Now, having the benefit of having heard the community's feedback loud and clear, and having heard the Finance Committee's review, I am now revising my recommendation. I am 100% convinced that we need to build a new Jackson library, and I believe it's the best thing for the library. I also believe it's the best thing for the community.
Tina, thank you for your input, your thoughts, and your recommendations. I want to also express the board's gratitude to Tina for taking the initiative that you did on this issue. It is both right and expected that you bring this sort of recommendation to the board for consideration. It's never easy being a leader of change, and sometimes that means being the lightning rod of the organization. I hope you understand, we're fortunate in Stark County to have an executive director who understands the need to both build on our best traditions and to be innovative in ensuring that the library stays relevant to our changing community needs. When we hired Tina 5 years ago, she was charged by the board to lead this library system and to reimagine itself so it could both serve more of our community and become more operationally efficient. We've made some important strides in the past year. There's much to do, and we will continue to grow, and we will continue to be better. But I want you to know, Tina, that this board appreciates your dedication and your leadership, and we thank you. The board's already on record with a decision to build a new building for our Jackson Township branch. And while this hasn't changed, all things considered, I believe it'd be appropriate for this board to reaffirm our commitment to proceed with the design, planning, and construction of the new building.
Steve, based on review of the Finance Committee and the recommendation of our Executive Director, I move that we reconfirm our commitment to design, plan, and construct a new building, which will be the new home for the Jackson Township branch of the Stark County District Library. I second it.
And we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Same. All right, thank you very much. The Buildings Committee, which is chaired by Bob Belden, will proceed with moving the project forward. Is there any other new business, or is there any new business to come before the board tonight? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you all very much.